Hello everybody, we are here today to work through some lower body cars. So we're going to be working into hips, knees, and ankles today. This is a short video that you can layer onto any one of our other routines or just do it by itself when you have about 10 minutes to spare. So Dawn is going to start to come into tabletop position. Spreading the fingers wide, tucking the toes. Remember that the tuck toe positioning is an active position. Tops of the feet flat to the floor is more of a restful position. So we want to stay active here. Remember that mobility work is strength training for your joints. So we want to be intentional with our movements. Scaps back and away from the ears, abdominals pulled up. Dawn's going to just start to push her hips back to her heels and pull herself forward. So again, we're not coming into child's pose here. We are keeping this active, abdominals engaged, toes tucked and pressing down into the floor, making sure your hands and feet are active at all times. Forward and back, forward and back. And from here, Dawn's going to prepare to pull her left leg forward. So she's going to pull into tabletop, engage her abdominals, and step that left foot outside of the left hand. And she's going to do the same thing now, just rocking forward and back. Starting to open up through the adductors. Dawn's going to push herself forward. Just let the knee drop out to the side, onto the side of the foot, and just give yourself a couple little bounces here. You may not move very far here, just to warm up the hip a little bit. You can repeat this a couple of times. And one more time. Exhale as you drop the knee to the side, and inhale to bring it back. And just a couple more pushes here, Dawn, forward and back, just to warm up the inner part of the leg. Now from here, Dawn is going to send that leg out to the side into an adductor rocker. Outer edge of the foot you can see is pressing firmly down into the floor, only pushing far enough back that you feel that the capacity is in the leg. So we don't want to be pushing past our capacities. It may be much shorter range than Dawn has. And as you can see, Dawn has her right toes tucked at all times. She's not flattening out that foot at all. Spine is maintaining nice and long, pushing the hips back and pulling forward just to warm up those inner thighs. This should feel really good. Should not be overly painful. If it is very painful, you are likely pushing too far into the stretch. Good. Dawn's going to bring herself back to table and bring that left leg back to starting position. Engage abdominals. Right foot will step forward outside of the right hand, and let's start to move forward and back. Maintaining the tucked toes of the left foot, scaps depressed down and away from the ears. Spine is neutral, abs are pulled up. And Dawn is going to just let that knee fall to the side. Let it bounce just a couple of times. Just a gentle bounce, bringing it up, and then she'll push forward and back a couple more times before she comes into the adductor rocker. Good. Leg goes out to the side. Back toe stays tucked. You can see pushing forward and back. The spine is not changing much here. We don't want you to be rounding your back. If you're rounding your back just to get the hips back farther, that's a compensation. So make sure that you're maintaining that neutral spine. Stretches in the inner thigh of the right leg. You're not shifting your hips too far to one side. Keeping the outer edge of the foot planted firmly to the floor. Good. And she'll bring the leg in. Now that we're warmed up, we're going to come into some hip cars. So Dawn is going to grab herself a block. She likes to use a block for hip cars. It's your choice, but make sure that your head is not too elevated. So she's going to put the block underneath her head and go ahead and bend both knees up, Dawn. So we're going to come about to a 90-degree angle with the knees. We're going to move through this first hip car very slow. So the one thing I notice with most of our students is they tend to move through their hip cars a little bit too fast. Remember that your femur is the heaviest bone in your body, and you're using the weight of your femur bone, the thigh bone, to create some resistance for the muscles of your hip to get stronger. When you move through it too quickly, you're not allowing the benefit of those little tiny muscles to lift, essentially, like lifting weights, but your hip muscles are using that heavy thigh bone. So you have to make sure that you're controlling yourself at all times. Your bottom arm will punch, your top arm will pull. This is going to create tension in the upper body. Push your rib cage down into the floor. So keep contact with the ribs and the bottom leg at all times. Dawn is going to straighten out her top leg, and we're going to move through 2 cars here. Take a deep breath in and start to pull your knee up towards your armpit into hip flexion. Pause here and feel that little cramp in the front of your thigh. Make sure you are not rounding your spine. Now actively press your bottom leg and your ribs into the floor as you start to bring the knee up into this clamshell-like position. Knee is pointing up towards the ceiling, no rolling back. Now take a deep breath in and start to turn your knee in down towards your other knee. Ankle lifting up towards the ceiling. Before you start to drop the leg, find your maximum internal rotation and keep internally rotating that knee as you come down. Hold here. Don't let the tension come off the hip. Now drop your heel down, and we're going to take a deep breath in and donkey kick that heel back without arching your back. Hold here and bring the knee back out into abduction, or that clamshell position. You will notice that you will likely have less range of motion than you did when you came out of flexion. Start to pull up towards your shoulder, knee towards the back of the arm, and now push your knee forward and slowly come back to your starting position. Remember, we're trying to find capacity in the joint here, not going past your capacity, seeking for more range of motion little bit by little bit. Start with your knees stacked. Take a deep breath in. Make your legs parallel to each other, a little bit of space between the knees to start. Pull the knee up towards the armpit. Find that little cramp in the front of the hip in flexion. Now start to come out into abduction. Drive your arms, your ribs, and your bottom thigh into the floor. Hold here. This will be the hardest part for you. Start to turn the knee in towards the floor, ankle lifting up. Before the leg starts to come down, make sure you have hit your maximum capacity, and then keep turning that knee in. Knee will almost be pointing to the heel of your bottom foot. Drop your heel down, keeping tension in that hip. Now kick back into a donkey kick type position. Flex your foot as if you're driving the sole of your foot behind you. Find your maximum capacity. Start to lift the knee up towards the ceiling. Keep breathing and keep actively pushing your ribs, bottom leg, and arms into the floor. Pull back into flexion as the knee comes up towards the armpit. Take a deep breath in, push your knee forward, and bring your leg back to starting position. Good. Dawn's going to turn around and go ahead to the other side. You can always rewind parts of this video to go back to do more rounds of hip cars if you like, if hips are your focus. But we're trying to keep these videos under 15 minutes, but you can always repeat the video if you like. Push with your bottom arm, make a fist, put your top arm on top and pull over that fist to create tension in the arms, ribs down. Make sure that your spine is neutral and the ribs are making contact with the floor. Hover your top knee, take a deep breath in, pull into hip flexion, knee coming up towards the armpit. Take a deep breath in, press your hips, bottom arm and ribs into the floor as you come into abduction. Now start to turn the knee in, lift the heel up towards the ceiling. Find your maximum turn in before the leg starts to come down, and keep turning in as if you're turning your knee towards your back heel. Come down and let's drop the heel. Keep tension in that hip. Don't release the tension and kick back. All the way back. Start to turn the knee up. Push your ribs, hip, and bottom arms into the floor. Come up towards your armpit. Find a little pinching sensation in that hip. Push the knee forward and come back to starting position. Let's do that one more time. Let your leg relax for a moment. Think about your upper body. Think about that internal irradiation. Punch with your bottom arm, pull with your top, press your ribs and hip down. Let's come up to hover. Pull up towards your armpit. You should get to the point with hip cars that you only need verbal cues. There comes a point where you should no longer be having to watch a video to be able to do these movements. Start to turn your knee in, ankle lifting up, drive your knee down, keep turning as the knee comes down. Drop your heel, prepare for extension, kick straight back, donkey kick. Squeeze that glute, push your ribs down and arm down. Start to turn out, maximum abduction or external rotation here. Start to pull back up towards your armpit into flexion. Push your knee forward and slowly come back into starting position. Good. Dawn's going to slowly start to come up back to a seated position. We're going to come into the knees. First, we're going to start moving the knee into extension and flexion. Dawn is going to loop her left arm under her left knee and put her left hand on her right forearm and for her right hand below the knee on the shin. I'm going to take a deep breath in and start to lift the leg up and down. So we're trying to get the leg as straight as possible without pain, lowering and lifting. This is just knee prep here. Starting to get an idea of how the patella is feeling today, how the knee joint is feeling today. Creating a little compression into the hamstrings, compression into the hip, and down. Good. She's going to bring the leg down and bring the heel to the floor as we prepare for the knee cars on the left side. Taking the heels of your hands, you are going to push in to the femur bone of the leg. This is important. Again, your femur is a very heavy bone. Make sure that you have compression into the hip by walking the heel tight to the body. Toes point straight up and you will dorsiflex your ankle to make this happen. So dorsiflex by pulling the toes up towards the knee. We're going to start by just gliding the toes out to the side and in towards the other knee. So out to the side and in and in. Out to the side and in, out to the side and in. So this is external rotation, internal rotation. Notice how Dawn's fingers are not pressing into her patella. They're not even touching her knee right now. And she is not squeezing underneath her leg. A lot of people want to do knee cars by putting a death grip on their hamstrings, and that is going to really restrict the movement. We want this nice glidey movement. Dawn's toes are staying pointed up, and this may not feel this way for you. This may be a lot more challenging for you, and that is okay. Now she is going to squeeze firmly into the femur bone and take her knee into external rotation. So trying to keep the toes pointing straight up, she's going to lift the heel off the floor and come into as much extension that is possible and capable for her. Now she's going to turn her toes in to create that internal rotation of the knee and slowly lower down. Let's do that again. External and up, internal and down. As you can see, Dawn has less internal rotation than external rotation, and the rotation is led from the knee. It is not led from the foot or the ankle. She is turning the knee. You can feel that with your fingertips gently touching the patella. You can feel gently touching the top of the tibia bone. In and down. Now stay in, Dawn, and lift up in internal rotation. That was really good internal rotation. Your knee is moving a little bit better now. And this will happen as you chase range of motion by moving with intention, by moving carefully and slowly. Dawn has already improved the internal range of her knee just by repeating the pattern over and over again and not trying to go too far, too fast. Dawn's gonna loop her left arm underneath her thigh, back to that original positioning with creating that sort of cross pattern there. And now pull tight that hip, pull it in so you create good compression into the hip, and press down with your right hand to get some immobilization of the knee. Point your toes down, we're coming into the ankle. Start to scoop side to side with the ankle. So keeping the toes pointed down, trying to keep the knee immobilized and the hip immobilized. Side to side. Good. Now we're going to point into dorsiflexion, so toes up towards the knee, and plantar flexion, toes point down towards the floor, up and down and up and down. Good. Let's start to make a big circle, ankle cars. So Dawn's going to point her toes up and down and start to come in towards the body, up towards the knee, out and away. Try to really immobilize the knee and the hip here. The knee and the hip are going to kick in to come and help. We don't want them to. We want to keep the work in the ankle. In, up, out, and down, other way. One more. And down. Good. Okay, now we're going to come to the other side. So first we're going to do the extension and flexion. Dawn's going to loop underneath her leg and grab a hold of her opposite forearm. Let's just move the knee a couple times here, up and down and up and down and up and down, up and down. Good. Now we'll move into the external and internal rotation of the knee. Squeezing into that femur, not the knee. So you can see Dawn's hands are a couple inches below where the knee joint is, really creating compression into the femur, compression into the hip. She is internally, this is external rotation. And you can see that tibia bone, the blade of the shin moving in and out. So that is what we're looking for. If you have access to a mirror, or if you're in the S&M class and you're watching yourself on Zoom, that is what you're looking for. You're looking for the blade of the shin to be moving and not the ankle and the toes making some curvature or sort of turning in and out. So yeah, that's what we're not looking for. Now Dawn's knee is still moving while she's doing that crazy movement with her foot. But if you don't have a lot of capacity in your knee and you start driving the movement through your ankle, that's what it's going to look like. Your foot's going to be all curving to the side, and it's not really what we want. We want the toes pointing straight up. So I'll have Dawn reset, toes straight up. You may cramp a little bit sometimes in the front of the shin, in the tibialis, or into the ankle. That's pretty normal. So side to side to side to side. Good. Now let's move through some global cars. So moving the knee through all four ranges of motion. Dawn's going to externally rotate. So bring it out away from the body. Take a deep breath in, lift the heel, come up into extension. Internally rotate, which again is harder than the external rotation for most people. Go out and up. A lot of knee injuries happen because people lack that internal range. So it's important that we are seeking it, we're trying to find it, and we're trying to build it. Building into capacity. Internal and hold there, Dawn. Hold in the internal. Let's kick up, extend. Go out and down and in and up and out and down and in, up, out, and down. Good. She's going to loop under her leg now to come into the ankle. Sitting up nice and tall, immobilizing the hip and the knee. Let's start by scooping the ankle, scooping in, out, in, and out, and in, and out, and in, and out. Good. Let's point down, plantar flexion, and up, dorsiflexion, and down. Ankles are really important. For those of you that tend to lean a little forward in your squat, this can sometimes be the culprit. For those of you that really find it challenging to keep your feet flexed in dead bugs or 90-degree crunches, this is important to be mobilizing the ankle. We don't want to forget about the ankles. And now let's point the toes down, come in through the center of the body, point your toes up, out to the side, and down, in, up, out, and down, in, up, out, and down. Let's go the other way. Keep the foot tight. So you can spread your toes around a little bit, but make sure that the knee is pulled in nice and tight, the hip is pulled in. You may feel them kick in, and try to help that ankle out, especially if you have ankle insufficiency. So it's always important that we are immobilizing the joints that we don't want to be working, so that we have free movement in the joints that we do want to be working. Good. All right. That concludes your lower body cars in just about 21 minutes. Done. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day.